All right, guys, so we're gonna go through Owen McDonald here, and the video that we're showing right now, this is him 77 days post-op, as it says, going into throwing impulse. His surgery was 3.5 months ago. So he's currently 3.5 months post-TJ. He's ready to start throwing, so I wanted to walk through like a little bit of what we did with him and then also some specific issues that he had. So here he is. This is 3 days post-op. So he was in a cast. I believe he was in a cast for like 6 or 7 days. Next, we'll show him the movement that he had out of the cast, but this is 3 days post-op. In his case, like, first of all, we wanted him fully off medication before we started to move anything specific with the elbow. We started moving the fingers and the wrist a little bit on like maybe day 1 or day 2, but we wanted him fully off meds before we started doing anything with the elbow. So I think day 3 here is the first day that we had that. And for Owen here, he was in a cast, and so we're just like lightly pressing and pulling against that to try to get into the tricep and the bicep a little bit. And so that's where we started. We skipped to 7 days post-op. I believe this is the first day that he got his cast off. If we look at the one where he's lying down and he's attempting to extend his arm there with the tricep, this was really like the biggest issue for Owen early on. And just even throughout the process was the tricep was lagging behind a little bit. There's a point where he just like, he wasn't sure, or we really had to figure out like, what can we do to kind of like bring this thing along, because he was essentially like, I think he was around like that much range of extension, like right around there, and just it wasn't really clicking. So if we skip to 19 days post-op, these are some things that we specifically did in his case to really help clear that up, because a lot of the other stuff came along really well. Like fingers, wrist, elbow flexion came along pretty well. Even when we started to load, it went pretty well, but it's just like early on that tricep. So 19 days post-op here, overcoming iso pulses into a rope. So this is like one thing that we did where it's basically, he was having trouble with like getting that elbow fully extended. And so the way that I think about that is like, if the elbow isn't able to be fully extended, this tricep isn't able to fully contract or fully shorten, right? Because if the tricep can fully shorten, it's gonna be able to fully extend that joint. And so if it's not, then there's some block there. And so the goal with those overcoming isos is like, let's start to get into that muscle there, start to be able to like turn that on and activate that so that we can actually start to shorten that. And then that allows that kind of like end range to open up. So that's one thing that we did. 52 days post-op. This is like another variation. And so again, this was getting close to 2 months post. We were starting to load a little bit. Like if we go to 33 days post-op, this is one thing that we're having him do in the bottom of that push-up position. So we're starting to globally load him around that like 1 month or a little bit after the 1 month mark. But specifically at that 52 days post-op, that one there is like, he's supinated, right? He's got his elbow straight. I think we cued him to keep a little bit of bend in his elbow, because if I remember right, like we were trying to fully straighten, right? We were trying to fully straighten, trying to fully straighten, and it just wasn't going. So like what I found is by keeping a little bit of bend in the elbow, that can almost like take off those inhibitors, like purposely keeping some bend, to where like we do that for, I think we did that for like 3 to 5 minutes. And then we take that off, or we kind of like let that go, and then it just opens up because we've like desensitized that area. So that was like another specific thing that we did for him to really try to level up that tricep and bring him back. 70 days post-op, working pulses and deep layback. So this is starting to get towards a little bit of like the end process where, you know, he'd gotten full range back. He was starting to be able to load it and do that pretty well. So around, like I said, 70 days post-op, he's in that deep layback kind of pulsing through there. So we're looking to make sure that he's comfortable in that position. Wasn't using a ton of weight there. I don't remember if that was his first one or not, but that's one thing that we did do with him. Make sure that he's like feeling good in that deep layback position. 82 days post-op, this was a specific, so at 82 days post-op, this is a move where he was having some issues with, where like he felt like if he kind of rebounded in and out of that layback, it wasn't feeling really good. I think at this point, or if I remember correctly, at this point his extension was feeling pretty good. It was mostly just like that move there, right? Where he's like rebounding back in and out of that layback position. Made some adjustments. If we go to 92 days post-op, we see him ripping that move with a band, accelerating him deep into that layback position. So that's a little bit of a look at like how he progressed through the rehab. Obviously there's a ton more that goes into that. It was interesting because I mean, he was extremely consistent throughout the whole process, even like when things weren't going exactly the way that he wanted, or when he wasn't sure, you know, why is this difficulty in my tricep popping up, or like why am I not being able to like get into layback the way that I want. Even when he was having those things, like he just kept going and actually kept doing the training. And I mean, honestly guys, that's a big thing. Just when little things pop up along the way, it's like, you know, bring them up and we address them. But as long as we keep going, we'll be able to like actually figure out what that issue is. And he's fully good, fully ready to go, and fully ready to go through. I mean, he was very consistent with the videos, as you can see. Like that is a big thing. It's just like he would drop in videos pretty much every day when we needed them. Like early on when we needed them, he'd drop in videos pretty much every day. Was consistent with it, and that's as big of a part of this process of as anything else. So props to him for that. Yeah, he's ready to roll with throwing.